Dr. Erik Perl, autor bestseller knjige Rekonekcija, liječi, druge, liječi, sebe, prevedene na 30 svjetskih jezika, već 18 godina putuje svijetom učeći rekonektivnom iscjeljivanju sve koji su zainteresovani da prime ljekovitu frekvencu kojom se iscjeljuju mnoge bolesti, čak i one koje klasična medicina smatra neizlečivim. Prije iznenadnog pojavljivanja ovih iscjeliteljskih moći, Erik Perl radio je 12 godina kao ljekar-kiropraktičar i vodio izuzetno uspješnu ordinaciju u Los Angelesu. U avgustu 1993. nakon niza čudesnih iscjeljenja koja su se dešavala tako što je dr. Perl jednostavno držao ruke u blizini svojih pacijenata, postalo je jasno da je dobio neobičan dar. Pacijenti su počeli da prijavljuju iscjeljenja od raka, epilepsije, sindroma hroničnog umora, multiple skleroze, cerebralne paralize, bolesti vezanih za sidu, urođenih fizičkih deformiteta. Od tada rekonektivno iscjeljivanje privlači pažnju vrhunskih ljekara i medicinskih naučnika u bolnicama i univerzitetima širom svijeta. Trenutno se u brojnim centrima sprovode nova ispitivanja pod nadzorom čuvenih naučnih istraživača kao što su dr. Gary Schwartz i dr. William Tiller. Veoma brzo, nakon prvih iscjeljenja, dr. Perl je otkrio da svoj dar može da prenosi drugima i da bukvalno svako može imati pristup ovom novom, sveobuhvatnom spektru iscjeljujućih frekvenciji koje prevazilaze sve do sada poznate tehnike energetskog iscjeljivanja. Od 90. godina do danas obučio je oko 60.000 praktičara rekonektivnog iscjeljivanja u preko 65 zemalja. Dr. Perl rado dolazi u naš region. Krajem aprila boravio je u Požarevcu, gdje je na prezentaciji organizovanoj za oko 500 posjetilaca, uglavnom ljekara i medicinskih radnika, iscijelio nekoliko osoba iz publike. Sa doktorom Perlom razgovarali smo uoči seminara održanog krajem maja u Zagrebu, seminara na kome je učestvovalo 590 polaznika iz Hrvatske, Slovenije, Srbije, Crne Gore, ali i drugih krajeva svijeta. Ljudi najrazličitijih profesija i interesovanja okupili su se u konferencijskoj dvorani zagrebačkog hotela Sheraton, neki sa željom da i sami postanu praktičari, drugi sa potrebom da prije svega pomognu svojim najbližima. Majka 18-mjesečne djevojčice iz Južnoafričke republike vratila se iz Zagreba sa dvostrukim darom. Nakon kratke seanse sa doktorom Perlom, beba je gotovo potpuno izliječena od deformiteta sa kojim je rođena, a majka je ostala na seminaru kako bi naučila da dalje pomaže svojoj djevojčici i svima kojima rekonektivno iscjeljivanje bude zatrebalo. Dr. Erik Perl jedan je od najpriznatijih svjetskih iscjelitelja. Čudesne priče njegovih pacijenata do sada su dokumentovane u 6 knjiga. Govorio je po pozivu u Ujedinjenim nacijama, držao predavanja pred prepunom salom Madison Square Gardena i potpuno je posvećen, kako sam kaže, širenju svjetlosti i informacije, neprestano putujući sa timom svojih saradnika i obučavajući praktičare rekonektivnog iscjeljivanja na seminarima širom svijeta.
So, Dr. Perl, in your book, The Reconnection, Heal Others, Heal Yourself, you described your encounter with what is worldwide known as reconnective healing. You said on Friday, I left my work as a chiropractic. On Monday, I come back as somebody else. So, what happened during that miraculous weekend?
Well, actually, what I said was, when I came back, I was something else. Which is because my parents always told me, you're something else, but that wasn't what they meant. Mm-hmm. What happened? Mm-hmm. In a minute or in a week? Because the explanation changes. Yeah. I was awakened in the middle of the night by a bright light. I opened my eyes to see what it was. It wasn't anything seemingly spiritual or metaphysical. It was just the lamp next to my bed. It had turned itself on. Now, I had that lamp for a good 10 years, and it hadn't selected any other propitious occasion to self-ignite, but there it was. And at the same time, I felt as if someone was in my home. I'm thinking maybe the lamp was an electrical short, except shorts usually turn things off, so I don't know, maybe it was along. But the feeling of someone in my home was just uncomfortable. So I got up with a knife and a can of pepper spray and my Doberman pinscher, and I walked through the house hunting And after about 20 minutes, I couldn't find anyone, even though it felt like someone was still there. So I talked myself into thinking it was my imagination, and I went back to sleep. But that Monday when I went into work, 7 of my patients, independently of one another, told me that they felt someone in the room with us at my office. Some said standing, some said walking, some said running, and 2 of them actually looked me straight in the eye or lowered their eyes a little bit and said it felt as if someone was flying around the ceiling. Now, this was 7 people in one day. In my 12th year of practice, no one ever said that to me before, so you would think that this would have gotten my attention. But other patients were saying, I can feel your hands before you touch me. And I'm thinking, oh yeah, sure you can, close your eyes. So they'd lie down with their eyes closed. And I'd hold my hands sort of in different angles, aimed toward their shoulders or their feet. And they could tell me. They could tell me where they felt it. They were also feeling more than just 1 or 2 hands on them. Others were smelling fragrances of flowers that they'd never smelled before. I said, well, how do you know that they're flowers then? They said, I just know. Some said they were seeing colors. Many saw colors that they had never seen before. Well, I said, well, what were they? And they would say, well, golds or beautiful violet, lavender, purples, or whites. And I said, well then, if you can describe them, then how can you tell me you never saw them before? They said, I don't know how to explain it. I can just tell you I never saw it before. And the colors themselves either looked as if they had lights shining from behind them or as if they were lights. Next thing we know, people start having healings, real healings. They're getting up out of wheelchairs, vision and hearing is returning, they're coming and showing me laboratory reports where their cancer tumors had suddenly vanished. Children with cerebral palsy or epilepsy are walking and running and playing, speaking normally, not having seizures anymore. Not all of them, but a lot of them, enough so that we knew that something significant was occurring, something real. Their parents would call and said, what did you do? I said, I didn't do anything, and don't tell anyone. They would call their doctors. The doctors would call and say, what did you do? I said, I didn't do anything, and don't tell anyone. The more I said it, the less people listened, the more they talked, and pretty soon people started coming in from everywhere going, I'll have what she had, and teach us. They started asking me to teach it. I said, teach it? You gotta be crazy. There's no instruction manual. I'm standing there waving my hands in the air looking like an idiot. So go outside, wave your hands in the air, tell me what your neighbors think. But more and more, my patients would start calling me up when they got home and say, you know, I drove back to the house and the garage door, the automatic garage door opened up before I hit the button, or I walked inside and my television or my lamp or stereo started to turn off and on, and I felt sensations in my hands, and I held my hands by someone, and my uncle had a healing from this, and my grandmother had a healing from that, and we began to see the evidence that later now is documented scientifically, that once you interact with this, changes occur. Changes occur in your DNA. Changes occur in your light emission. Changes occur in gamma radiation absorption. Your brain waves and heart wave begin to show up on the same reading and intertwine with other people. And I hope you like the change, because once you have it, you don't get to change back. There it is. And all that really needs to happen is to work a little bit to teach you how to recognize it. You don't really teach the healing, in a sense. The gift of the healing at this level is transmitted to another person, but just like when you're a child and you're taught how to feel the glass and how not to squeeze too tightly and where to hold for balance. Well, so it's just that familiarity, but then there's really nothing much more than what comes about in a weekend. The gift of this work is that it allows us to access so much more than anything that we can access through an energy healing technique, because the key to this is to transcend all of our techniques. This is not another technique. This is a way to transcend technique entirely, because it's the focus of technique that limits what we're able to bring through, and it's the willingness to let go of the ego of technique that allows us to access this.
So you've just explained that there was a moment when you realized that you can pass this on, that you can give this gift to other people. So what do you actually do? What are you going to do with all these people attending seminar here in Zagreb? What is it like?
What am I going to do with them?
Yeah.
What we're doing this weekend is pretty much the same thing that I do anywhere that I teach. As a matter of fact, we'll be back relatively in this area. I don't know if you consider it the Balkans or not, but we'll be doing a seminar in Prague in, I think, September 9, 10, and 11, and we'll be doing one in Budapest November 4, 5, and 6. I believe those dates are accurate. But what we're doing right now here this weekend is on Friday night, we give a demonstration of the healings. First, we present for about 3 hours history, theory, science behind it, how it came about, some of the even weirder parts of the story that we won't get into today in the interview. And then we bring people up to show some live demonstrations of healings from people in the audience so that you have an opportunity to maybe experience it yourself or to see it on friends, people that you know. So you know the reality of it. And we also give everyone an opportunity for you to feel it in your hands. But Saturday and Sunday is a real working seminar. So the first thing I tell everyone is don't come. Don't come if you think we're all going to sit around and hold hands and om and drum and sing spiritual songs. It's not going to happen that way. There's a stage in the center of the room, usually. Chairs on one side, massage tables on the other. We demonstrate a level of the work from the stage. Then we go to the massage tables in groups of either 2 or 4. I walk around to each of the tables, and the teaching assistants are there in your groups at each of the tables, and we might show you how to take your hand and just glide it along until you're able to access or feel a certain sensation. And as you do that, you'll probably see the person's eyes, the person who's lying down on the table, see their eyes start to rapidly dart back and forth and back and forth. And we'll show you how to stretch it and get the eye movement to change. Or then to tune in and feel something else here, and you might see their fingers move or their feet move. And as you start to say, when I'm here, I see the eyes. When I'm here, I see the feet. When I'm here, I see tiny little involuntary muscles that we can't even move intentionally. And you start to correlate what you're feeling with what you're seeing, and how when you change, the response changes on the person. And pretty soon, it's like taking a glass of water and pushing it west, and it goes west, east, and it goes east, north, north, and south, south. Now, after you do that once or twice, you own this. You just own it. There's no reason to go to mystery healing schools for 3 months a year for 3 years and pay $300,000, because let's face it, you could study the physics of water glass pushing for the next 40 years, but you'll never know this any better than you know it now, will you? Healing is not about knowledge. It's not a result of studying what this healer thought and what that healer thought and this technique and that technique. Healing, true healing, only comes about once we transcend the knowledge and step into a consciousness, a state of knowingness. In our seeing lies our knowingness. In our knowingness lies our ability to see yet even more. And in that continued relationship, we simply expand in our mastery. Part of the gift, as I mentioned, of this work is that it allows us to completely transcend our energy healing techniques. But part of the requirement is that it requires us to completely transcend the energy healing techniques. The gift is that it lets us transcend the techniques so we can do less work to bring about more for the people who come to see us. But the challenge is whether or not we're willing to transcend the techniques. Or you could say that the gift is that this allows us to completely demystify the healing process.
What can prevent us from that? What can prevent us from that?
Well, think about it for a moment. The gift is that this allows us to demystify the healing process, so it's clear and transparent for everyone. The challenge again is whether or not we're willing to. So if we're not willing to transcend our techniques, to do less work, to bring about more for our people, we need to ask ourselves why, as you're starting to. If we're not willing to demystify the healing process and allow it to become clear and transparent for everyone, we need to ask ourselves why. And if we're not willing to ask ourselves why, then the question we need to ask ourselves is why we're not willing to ask ourselves why. It's the ego. Plain and simple. It's as if God or love or the universe, whatever word makes you happiest, has said to humanity, we're presenting now the next level that you can evolve to. The reward is that we assist one another in an expansion of consciousness and health, vibrance. The challenge is that we transcend the ego and judgment in the process. The ego is the part that wants us to say, I've mastered this technique, I've mastered that technique, I've mastered the other technique. Here are my certificates, aren't I wonderful?